we do with those paraphrases? We then have to put them together into a chunk which we call, this one's a very small one, paragraph. This is the life, this is why you did already an assessment on paragraphs. They are the building blocks of your report and your essays. What do you think about this paraphrasing? What's happened here? It should have paraphrasing in it because most of our paragraphs, like the example you've already produced, most of the paragraph will incorporate paraphrasing or some summary writing.
No, it has absolutely no in-text referencing.
No in-text referencing, is that a problem?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it clear that, well, can you tell that this information is from elsewhere?
Yeah.
And this is often what the comment of a marker will put if they feel there were places you didn't reference. So we're going to talk briefly about where. What else gives away the fact that this is not the student's thinking and it needs to incorporate research? What else gives us those clues and tells us that this is not well referenced? Yeah, so Yunsen, that is, we assume we know that's an author because we happen to know that textbook. Okay, so talks isn't very good. Does he really talk? Did you talk to Yunsen this week? No? You might have read him though. But even we wouldn't say Yunsen reads. We would use another, what we call a reporting verb. The other thing is there's a quote in there. So the quote's from somewhere, but where is the reference? Can you see the quote? It's embedded. It's in Harvard style because it has single quotation marks. Where is the quote? Yeah. Okay. So straight away your marker is concerned. Where is the referencing? Where does the student think or write or interpret? And where is the proof of the sources used for this paragraph? So let's look at what we're going to do with this paragraph. I've just put in some comments here to highlight an example of Harvard style. I have one also in APA. What has changed? What makes this better? Okay, so where is the referencing, or what we call acknowledgement of sources or in-text citation? We've got Yunsen. Instead of talking, what's Yunsen doing? Defines. So that's not always used, but I think that word's quite handy for you because you have to do defining in your report. But you won't always be using that word. What else is happening with that in-text reference that we need to notice here in the brackets? Why is there a page number there?
Because there's a direct quote.
Yeah. So if we choose to keep that quote direct, that is a choice. And I would argue there are times not to do that. In fact, I would avoid it unless it's really important. But if we choose, we must put the page number in. Even if it's just a small chunk, which is the best way to quote, we embed the quote as we have done here. Okay, now we have lots of explanation and supporting evidence. It's clear that this is evidence. We know it's evidence because there's in-text referencing. What happens, and is it just Yunsen that we're looking at here? This is the first thing I look at in a paragraph when I'm marking. I look at the range of sources to see what the paragraph is based on. Yunsen is obviously mostly what this paragraph's based on. What else is there though? Rockwell, yeah. To know what that source is, I have to go to the reference list to see what sort of source it is. Hopefully it's an article, a journal article. We'll look at why, because that's important for your assessment. What about the last sentence? What's happening there? There's no reference for it, should there?
Conclusion.
It's a conclusive sentence or like a conclusion for the paragraph. We often call them concluding or terminating sentences in your Core 109 tutorials. We sometimes refer to them as concluding or summarising sentences. Why is there no reference there? We don't, because it's actually an interpretation. It sums up what is already being referenced. And it's very important to have one of these in your paragraph. Even a report, I recommend you follow this. Okay, so here's an example of APA, and I just show this quickly because you'll see the paragraph structure is a little bit different. There's an indent, and if you are to use APA, you do need to pay attention to some other things. Also, the other main difference, this is the mistake students often make, is using double quotation mark, which is APA and not Harvard for you. But otherwise it's the same. So what's important with a paragraph structure, and we are going to in fact look at this in a moment as well, because it's not perfect. It's a very small paragraph. I think it's only 100 words. They really should be generally bigger. They need to have more happening. But what you are being marked on is that you have paragraphs, that you use your own words, paraphrasing and summarising, and that you elaborate on the topic sentence in your paragraph, and that you clearly show where the sources are from. So these are the things your marker is looking for. The final sentence interprets the relevance. So this is information you've learnt already with paragraph writing, but it's really important to see this again in terms of referencing and the value of referencing in those paragraphs.